Look, I'll be honest and upfront off the bat with what this guide is, but promise me you'll fully hear me out before clicking off this video. I am not and will not claim to be some top 500 player or crazy mechanical player. If you're expecting me to be that type of a person that should be making a strategy guide for someone who's aiming for these specific goals, such as being a top player or best at a given role, this isn't that. What this is a strategy guide for the average Joes of the bunch, the full-time working, pushing, or in my case, surpassing 30, and tired gamers. Maybe you don't fit that exact description. Maybe you have limited time to play each week, are a full-time athlete or student. Maybe you have too much stress balancing home life, work life, and your passion for gaming. Maybe it's just too difficult to rank up and all the other guides haven't been helpful. I'll be blunt and honest throughout this, and right now I'll say that if you want to climb and you really don't have to do exactly as I say here. This is to get you to generate your own method to success and feel confident in your games while managing a busy life. If nothing else has worked, maybe just give this a go. Now, I know you motherfuckers are pretty busy, so I want this guide to be quick and straightforward, so I am going to break this up into 3 segments. First, I'll briefly go over what I did to reach Diamond. Again, you don't have to do exactly what I did. Then, how to set up some healthy and realistic goals for you to improve. And then lastly, some tips to help you stomp in some ranked games and improve yourself. So now with the formalities out of the way, let's kick this little shindig off. I am a full-time therapist, and I'm studying right now to try and get my full independent licensure, which is a pain in the ass, but it'll be worth it. So I have a lot of daily stress. I also have sporadic days where things can change on the drop of a dime. So needless to say, I'm really fucking busy. So how did I hit Diamond on really shitty internet? And I mean, I'm not saying that to cover up for my bad plays. I can vouch for myself. I have plenty of bad plays. But how did just check out this internet. Like, I really do mean shitty. Look at this clip. Yes. So how did I get to Diamond on that type of internet? Well, I'll be honest. There's a couple of strategies I used. And I'm going to break it down, and hopefully this will all make a lot of sense to you. And it will be helpful in some way. So again, I'm not really a good gamer. I actually usually am pretty bad. I'm like usually a bronze gamer, so to hit Diamond was really a big thing for me, Diamond 2. And what I did was I started off with being just greedy. What I mean by that is I am a strategist. I want to be a healer. If we have 3 strategists, I'm going to say, hey, let's see how this goes. If somebody is threatening me or begins to throw the game hard or just anything like that, I always just bit the bullet and tried to flex into whatever was needed. And I always just tried to have a couple spare heroes here and there just to fit in. But yeah, I had to be greedy. So I would not swap off sometimes, even when people are showing that they have legend. In ranked, that was a little bit different. In ranked, I would have to swap off in those times because sometimes that is really important, especially as you start to climb. But I didn't do that initially, especially in the lower ones. I did not care. There's a reason why you're in bronze with me. The other thing I personally had to do, and this is just because I did not like these types of interactions, is I don't use voice comms. And I know that's very controversial, but I am in Diamond 2. I have not used voice comms. There's a big reason for it. At the end of a long work day, I don't want to listen to somebody raging. I don't want to listen to some kid throwing a fit. I want to just log in, have fun, try to improve what I can, and do. I just want to stay focused the best that I can. I want this to be a pleasurable activity for me. I don't want it to turn sour just because somebody is losing their shit on voice comms, and I don't want to lose my shit on voice comms either. So, for my own sake, I do turn those off. If you're somebody that has those types of limits, like, just know yourself. It's okay to turn them off. You don't have to do that. You're not trying to become the best, like, one above all. You're just trying to improve at this point. Now that I had found a role that I liked, I had to do something to push myself to really grow. I always loved playing healers in games. I mean, I'm a therapist, duh. So for me to focus on being a healer in each game, I had to make sure that I was putting out the most healing on both teams, including another sub goal of really trying to hit at least 20k in each game, and especially in ranked play. What this led to, and this is because I hit a wall at some point, usually about like platinum, which is awful. Let me say the most toxic rank. This led to my rocket strategy. Now, before you roll your eyes or groan, again, just hear me out. This is just to get you to generate ideas. This doesn't mean you have to do what I do. Just get you thinking, you know? So, oh boy, do I love this hero. I became what most folks hate or tell you to avoid on this game. I became a heal bot. And I succeeded because in my lobbies, I found out that most people actually just complained of no healing, like every game. Even when I would hit like super high numbers, like I remember vividly a 45k healing game where there was like 2 other healers on our team and I topped. I became a heal bot to adjust to games where I couldn't rely on other healers. This carried me to platinum, believe it or not, but I had to tweak my strategy. So I had to climb out of platinum hell, and again, just such a toxic mess. So the strategy I adopted was I became nimble. I was going to be a nimble, stand on point, stand on business heal bot. I would do whatever was in my power to win games. I adopted a League of Legends mentality, and what I mean by that is if I would die, I would take after the Baus, who is a League of Legends streamer on Los Ratones, and make it a worthwhile death. Just like in League of Legends, and just like League of Legends told me. Death isn't always bad if it led to an overall team gain. To sum this up, if I am dying, it better be for something good, like a stall for my team to arrive, or I'm taking 1 or 2 of you motherfuckers with me. I also would duck and swerve on points to stall for as long as time to buy as much space and time for my team. With this mindset, the whole purpose of this was for me to stall out for like a Doctor Strange portal for my team to come in as reinforcements. I got really nimble and really good at stalling. What this led to is so many games, and I mean most of my games in platinum, were grinding out round 3s, round 5s. I don't think there are round 5s, but you know, going to the last round where it's silver scrapes and just clawing out a victory where I'm spamming heal and standing on point, hopping back and forth, stalling for as long as possible. I had the attitude of, I am winning. There was no other option. And I'll be honest, there was so much success with this. Once my healing was consistent and it was spot on to what I wanted, I would start focusing on something else, like keeping my deaths low. Then it became, hey, let's push for higher damage numbers. Right now, what I'm working on is focusing on becoming extremely comfortable and familiar with my hero pool. So grinding out Legend and at least trying to get like 100 plus games on my mains. So I hit that with Rocket. Rocket's like so done with. But I'm doing this while our internet is iffy. So we do plan on getting, you know, an upgrade soon. But I'll be honest, your boy broke and I'm just doing the best that I can out here. Now, if you want to succeed, we should really start thinking about setting those goals for ourselves. Like I said, let's keep these healthy and realistic, shall we? First and foremost, be real with yourself. If something you've tried and kept trying hasn't worked, try something different. A quote from my act book, if I do what I've always done, I'll get what I've always gotten. Try something else, man. Get off Spider-Man. Or at least run some quick plays to get familiar with your hero if you're really sold on him. Next, and this will kind of transition into tips for climbing, but when you first start off or struggle to get out of like bronze or silver or even gold, honestly, pick a stat and try to bump up that stat each match. Aim to be the top in that lobby. Aim for a certain goal each match that you play. When you feel comfortable in ranked, try to bump it up to like trying it out in ranked and setting a cap. Before we fully dive into tips and tricks, I want another tip to be thrown out there for setting goals. So this is something I have used in my therapy sessions, and I've seen so much success in many shapes in different lives. And yes, I'm going to use it to capitalize on gaming growth. Set baby goals. Baby steps are still steps in the right direction. Sit down during your play session with a small goal like, I'm going to do a little bit higher healing each match above my average with like an average bit of growth. Here's the kicker. If you have a bad day, the practice isn't a total loss. Learn what you can do better and apply it to your next baby steps. There's a load of psychology with how it impacts motivation, and I've seen this with helping with addiction recovery and challenging ADHD, and this isn't that kind of a video, so I'm just going to move on. Now back to that transition I mentioned. Remember when I mentioned I had to play at nights and had to carve out a pocket of time, even if it was just for like about an hour? Having a consistent pocket of time, if your schedule can allow it, to play for an hour, 30 minutes, hell, even if it's just a quick play match each day, will help you with slowly getting into the maps or used to how your hero acts, or all these like little small different things, that interactions you can experience. With the mention of heroes and consistency in bringing up the topic of legend status earlier, I'm not saying you have to hit legend status on your heroes to progress, but it doesn't hurt to pick up one or a few that you enjoy and really set some goals towards how familiar you want to get with them. Like I said, my internet is not so it right now, Chief Arinos, so I've been using the time to aim to hit 100 matches in various heroes just to get more familiarity. Like I said, you don't have to do what I did, but if you have any ideas that spark from this or any alternatives, absolutely give them a try, and do what works for you. My goal is to spark ideas and for you to try and gain a new perspective on playing, and please post some of that in the comments. New perspectives also makes me think of a content creator that often talks about something I like to call the flats method of thinking. The streamer in question, of course, being Flats, who has a history in esports, high levels of play, as well as analysis of various levels of play. What he always says across the board is regardless of any match, you always have an advantage because you have one player who does not quit, give up, or rage quit. If you can swing it and you have control of your emotions, and again, my dudes, play characters you have fun with, please, you always have at least one stable teammate. This one is a bit off topic and I can't really think of a transition, so transition. Be innovative, my friends. Everybody loves to cook. Everyone loves to try new playstyles, to push the limits, to break free from the meta, which always bores the ever-living crap out of me in every game that I play. Now, don't just pick randomly like 60 PS in your ranked games and run it down. Kind of like an ad for any alcohol product. Do this responsibly. Try things out, give it a couple of games in quick play, and really try to make it work. If it doesn't take off, take what you can, learn, and re-innovate. I don't think that that's a word, but run that shit back and cook something else up, man. Like, alter what you got. If you can try to adjust it or just try something new entirely, I highly recommend you learn how you can find your own answers in the situations that you find yourself in, not in like the shit that I find me in, like what works for you. So for your growth, rather than me giving some random bad one-shoe-fits-all type of advice that leads you nowhere, think back to why I said I even started dabbling in Rocket and why I played so much of him. Not a great strategy, but I made it work for me. Do what's fun. At the end of the day, find a strategy and playstyle that just is fun, and this can also help you with motivation, allowing you to enjoy the process when you really aren't in the lead. Remember, healthier mindset, more opportunities to turn a losing game on its head. Find a content creator that, plays in your role and you enjoy watching. They don't have to be like the best, just someone you enjoy. For me, it was Luminestra on Twitch, and I learned a lot from like what people were saying in the chat, as well as just like watching her play. She was about the same rank. Haven't checked in a while, but I'm hoping that she got really far and way past the goals that she even set for herself, because she had some really solid goals for how far she was going to go, and she was killing it. So yeah, even if you, and I'm not saying this about Flats or Luminestra, none of these players are bad, but even if you do watch like a really bad content creator, like even if it's me, dude, like you could spark some creativity or it could show you some learning moments. It boils down to if you vibe with them or not, and if you look for those opportunities for that growth and for what you can learn. So that just about wraps it up. I was very excited to talk about this, and I hope you learned some. So, peace.